We can cut it.
This is Polaroid's new Time 01 step.
Pretty. Why is it black?
A loner in pairs and makes a slinkety sound.
There are certain things from the past that were once essential for kids, shaping their childhoods and offering endless hours of fun. These experiences defined an era, but today they're either forgotten or completely unrecognizable. In this video, we're taking a trip down memory lane to explore things from the past that kids today would never understand. But hit that subscribe button and let's get into the nostalgia.
Out here we entertain ourselves at home, so we got an Atari video game. There's so many different games to play.
Space Invaders is a popular arcade-style game in the United States and was first introduced in 1978. It quickly garnered a ton of fans who had spent hours in the arcade trying to beat the record. They were stationed in places like bowling alleys, arcades, skating venues, and other places where youth gathered for leisure. Kids stood in line to take turns trying to stop descending aliens from taking over the Earth, and this obsession was building speed, quick pace, and the desire to prove yourself by beating the existing record, etching your initials on the leaderboard at the top. Having your initials boldly written as the player with the highest score was a thing that actually impressed people, and you could get a certain level of respect from others. Space Invaders was one of the first arcade games to rack up a huge following, and records for other arcade games that followed. Once a staple of urban landscapes, payphones were found on nearly every street corner. These public telephones provided a vital service, allowing people to make calls when away from home or work. Dropping coins into the slot and dialing the number was a familiar routine for many. Payphones were essential for emergencies, quick check-ins, and connecting with others when landlines were the primary means of communication. With the advent of the mobile phone, the need for payphones rapidly declined. Mobile technology offered convenience and personal accessibility that payphones couldn't match. And as mobile phones became more affordable and widespread, payphones began disappearing from public space. Today, they are a rare relic of the past era, occasionally seen in older neighborhoods or as nostalgic installations. The rise and fall of the payphone illustrates the profound impact of mobile technology on our daily lives and communication habits. The 70s introduced the ingenious sleep aid, a bed that rocked you to sleep, known as the Waterbed. These mattress designs gained popularity in the 70s for the innovation of a water-filled bed weighing up to 1,600 pounds at full capacity. They were widely advertised on television as the peak of comfort and luxury, and they began to decline in sales when people started to complain about their extremely heavy weight, making them difficult to move around. Another concern was leaks that caused miniature floods in many homes. They were so bad that some landlords wouldn't allow tenants to bring them in, as they were potential floods waiting to happen. The final nail in the coffin was the many complaints of discomfort while sleeping on the bed, and turns were more wobbly than expected, and one slight turn could generate water movement to keep you awake for a long time. While they are still made today, they're no longer a common thing. Milk delivery to homes. Having milk delivered to homes was a daily routine for many families in the past. Early in the morning, milkmen would leave fresh bottles of milk on doorsteps, ensuring that households had a constant supply of this essential staple. This service was more than just a convenience. It was a reliable way to get fresh, local dairy products directly from the farm to the table. Families often had designated milk boxes or crates where the milkman would place the bottles, and empty bottles would be left up for collection and reuse. This system not only ensured freshness but also promoted sustainability through the reuse of glass bottles. The arrival of the milk delivery was a familiar and comforting sight, symbolizing the start of a new day. It also provided a personal touch, as milkmen often knew their customers and their specific preferences, creating a sense of trust and community. While modern supermarkets and convenience stores have made daily milk delivery largely obsolete, the tradition holds a nostalgic charm. It represents a time when daily routines were simpler and communities were more closely knit, with services tailored to meet the needs of local residents.
Got my Viewmaster. It's Simba and Mufasa, the Lion King.
Kids take 3D view.
Do you remember the almost cinematic experience of the Viewmaster? Playing with Viewmaster reels was an activity that was popular with children and designed as a stereoscopic viewer that was used to view 3D images imprinted on a small circular cardboard reel. That reel contained a series of images arranged in sequence, and these images are viewed through the Viewmaster toy, which gave it a lifelike 3D effect. The Viewmasters featured a wide variety of educational content, like geography, history, and others, providing immersive visuals combined with basic storytelling that was both appealing to kids and adults in an age where digital entertainment was only a myth. Today, there's way more advanced visual entertainment with a lot more dynamism like virtual reality and gaming, so the Viewmaster would certainly be way too archaic. MTV. When MTV launched in 1981 with the words "Ladies and Gentlemen Rock and Roll," it revolutionized how we enjoyed music. MTV brought music videos into our homes 24/7, turning songs into visual experiences and artists into cultural icons. Who could forget the premiere of Michael Jackson's Thriller or the controversy surrounding Madonna's Like a Prayer? MTV wasn't only about music. It shaped fashion trends, influenced a youth culture, and even impacted politics with its Rock the Vote campaign. The anticipation of waiting for your favorite video to play was just part of the experience. However, as MTV began to shift towards reality television programming in the late 90s and early 2000s, and as the internet made music videos readily available on demand, its influence as a music channel waned. Now, while MTV still exists, it's a far cry from the music video powerhouse that it once was. Jukeboxes. The golden age of jukeboxes in the mid-20th century turned these music machines into cornerstones of social life. Found in diners and bars, clubs, and more, jukeboxes brought the latest hits directly to the public, creating personal, interactive musical experiences. Back then, selecting a track felt special, a way for individuals to share their musical tastes or even set the mood of a gathering. With their flashing lights and the anticipation of the chosen 45 RPM record dropping, jukeboxes were more than just music players. They were a shared social experience, a focal point where memories were made. Fast forward, and now the role of jukeboxes once played in our daily music consumption has significantly shifted due to digital technology. Streaming services and personal playlists have taken the lead, offering instant access to a global library of songs at our fingertips. While the physical action of selecting a song on a jukebox has been replaced by a few taps on a screen, the essence of sharing and enjoying music with others continues. Though jukeboxes are no longer the primary medium through which we discover and listen to music, they remain cherished relics of a vanished era, celebrated for their historical value and nostalgia.
Worse, they're degrading. To fix this problem, we started Legacy Box.
Legacy Box. It was a personal time capsule in the 1970s. Collectors filled them with family photos, heirlooms, and personal keepsakes, creating a treasure trove of memories. These boxes were often passed down through the generations, preserving the stories and artifacts of family history. Each legacy box was unique, reflecting the individual's life and experiences, and some contained old letters and postcards, while others held childhood toys, school mementos, and family recipes. These items, though they were simple, carried deep emotional value, connecting generations through shared history. Creating a legacy box was a way to celebrate and remember the past. Families would gather to share stories as they added new items, making the process a cherished tradition. These boxes were not only collections of objects, but repositories of love, memories, and heritage. Legacy boxes allowed people to preserve their personal history in a tangible way, and as time went on, opening a legacy box became a journey back in time, offering a glimpse into the lives of ancestors and the cherished moments that defined them. Today, these boxes remain valuable family heirlooms, keeping the past alive for future generations. Now let's see the last and most beloved collectible that captured our imaginations.
I have to stay up all night, and I hate to taste the coffee. Well, have a Jolt. Jolt. All the sugar and twice the caffeine. And tastes great, too.
If you loved caffeine and energy drinks in the 1970s and 80s, you were probably a fan of Jolt Cola. A highly caffeinated soda was the bad boy of drinks. It has some major points that customers fell in love with, like its ingenious battery bottle design, which blew the competition out of the water. The high caffeine content and punk rock branding were all notorious and iconic all at the same time. It had that rebellious image that evoked curiosity and became a symbol of status and coolness. The drink was formulated in the early 80s by C.J. Rapp, who admitted that he was trying to differentiate the soda from its peers and also achieve exceptional effects like keeping you energized and awake, and perhaps even curing a hangover. Despite many backlashes by concerned persons and deliberations to ban the drink, no legal action would be taken. The drink brand, however, took a hit when consumers started shifting from soda to natural drinks. Jolt had tried to adopt an organic line, but the reputation as a bad boy compromised all efforts. The niche drink just couldn't fit into other flavors, and in 2011 production ceased completely due to growing competition and declining sales. It remains a relic that reminds everyone of how a powerful energy drink could be. Disco Ball. Some might say that disco had saved the world. It could be regarded too as the most influential musical movement, with a blend of cultures that popularized social dancing and paved the way for a wide variety of freeform. It brought about the hallowed position of music keepers, who were referred to as DJs, on whose tables remixes were invented. But no disco would ever be complete without the disco ball. The massive spherical decorative ball, which was covered in bits of mirrored facets that made it shimmer, would be usually dangled from the ceiling of the club and reflected flashy balls of light that illuminated the entire room. Everything in the 70s arguably had a bit of a shag to it. For instance, the long, shaggy haircut was a hairstyle that had been around since the early 70s, inspired by popular rock and roll bands who were worshipped throughout the era. The haircut became a symbol of rebellious freedom, a mid-length to long haircut that had multiple layers, making the look even more voluminous than it actually was. The shaggy hairstyle was universal and worked for every hair type. Well, almost. Just when we thought things couldn't get more shaggy, the long shag carpet look took over the floors of every home. Shag carpeting had a massive fur that could hide small objects until they were vacuumed or swept clean, and the interesting thing was that it could be styled with a rake to take on different shapes and even cover footprints. Today, neither the long shaggy haircut nor the carpet is completely gone forever. The haircut takes on various modern looks and upgrades, while the carpet can be found in classic vintage stores.
2 new puppies from the Pound Puppies collection, each sold separately from Tonga.
Pound Puppies. If you were a child during the 1980s, you'll remember these adorable puppies with floppy ears. They came as a specific breed of dogs, and their big sad eyes and soft huggable bodies were impossible to resist. It even made more sense that there was a backstory for their existence. We were told that the pups needed a home, and it was up to us to give them one. Every child wanted to adopt a pound puppy. We were like the foster parents because adopting one came with certificates that made the experience feel even more real. There was a Pound Puppy cartoon that aired around that time and told the stories of the adventures of these puppies. The production of the toys were eventually stopped when the cartoon no longer had its usual fame.
The beautifully crafted multicolor mood ring reveals your subconscious feelings in a myriad of breathtaking color.
The Mood Ring. If toys weren't enough to lift your mood, well, it certainly showed on your mood ring. The mood ring was a genius fashion accessory that displayed a certain color depending on the mood that you were in. Inexplicably, the piece of jewelry could assess your emotional state and emit a color that gave it away. An amber color meant that you were uneasy and anxious. Blue meant that you were in a calm state. And black would get people taking a few steps back because it meant that you were about to be upset. It was never really confirmed how real the predictions were. Would the mood ring actually read your mood, or was it simply all coincidence? The world may never know. There's one thing that can always brighten your day, and that's none other than video games. On some hot afternoons, kids would explore creeks and ponds in search of adventure, and marshy areas were not exempted. They'd role-play as adventurers discovering new lands, and while this activity was in progress, one of the things they loved to do was catching frogs and turtles. These elusive critters were caught with buckets, nets, and sometimes barehanded. The croak of the frog and the splash of the turtle usually gave them away, as kids would chase excitingly, leaping into the water and stumbling on rocks. After hours of playing with these animals, the kids would return to the water where they belong. These activities taught children to connect with nature and develop a love for wildlife.
You can choose tennis, or hockey, handball,
Pong. When you got tired of playing fetch with your pet rock, you probably indulged in an exciting and stimulating game of Pong. The simple arcade game swept the 70s into a frenzy. Admittedly, it does look a little empty. It doesn't have a whole lot of complex graphics and pictures, but it was enough to keep players on their toes with their hearts in their mouths at the arcade or on their home console. The game consists of two opposing sides represented with their individual paddles and a ball which was struck back and forth. Gaming has since evolved to the more realistic human characters with extremely broad storylines, and Pong, however, will remain in the records as a nostalgic memory of when games were in their infancy. Are you familiar with sea monkeys or the magic rings that show your emotions? Well, stick with us to find out more.
Today I'm going to show you how I do this 1940s half-poodle hairstyle.
Bobby socks and poodle hairdos. In the 1960s, bobby socks and poodle hairdos were all the rage amongst teenage girls. Bobby socks were short, wide ankle socks, often worn with saddle shoes. These socks were a fashion statement paired with skirts and dresses. Poodle hairdos involved teasing the hair into a high and voluminous style, often finished with a ponytail or a headband. This hairstyle required a lot of hairspray and effort, but was well worth it for the stylish look. Today's fashion trends are much more diverse and less uniform. While some retro styles make comebacks, the specific charm of bobby socks and poodle hairdos is a nostalgic memory of a unique era.
Here's a World War I ace ready to fly off once more in search of the Red Baron.
Peanuts merchandise. The Peanuts comic strip and TV specials brought characters like Charlie Brown and Snoopy into our hearts. Collecting Peanuts merchandise allowed fans to keep a piece of this beloved series close by. From toys to lunchboxes, these items became cherished collectibles. Peanuts merchandise was everywhere. Children carried Peanuts-themed lunchboxes to school, played with Snoopy stuffed animals, and wore t-shirts that depicted their favorite characters. The popularity of the strip and the TV specials had made these items highly desirable, with each piece of merchandise capturing the charm and humor of the Peanuts gang, making them beloved by fans of all ages. Collectors had sought out various items, which included figurines, posters, and even holiday decorations. The simplicity and warmth of the Peanuts characters made the collectibles feel as though they were part of the family. People enjoyed putting their collections on display while sharing their love for Charlie Brown, Linus, Lucy, and the rest of the gang with their friends and family. The timeless appeal of Peanuts merchandise continues to bring joy. Many who collected these items in the 70s still treasure them today, passing down their collections to younger generations. The enduring popularity of the Peanuts characters ensures that these collectibles remain a beloved part of our culture. Paperboy. In the 1960s, paperboys were a familiar sight in neighborhoods. These children delivered newspapers on bicycles, tossing papers onto front porches with skill. It was a common after-school job, providing many children with their first taste of responsibility and a little bit of pocket money. Riding through the streets early in the morning or after school, paperboys became a staple of daily life. They knew their routes well and built relationships with their customers. Today, the role of the paperboy has mostly disappeared. Digital news delivery is taken over, with people getting their news online through websites and apps. The tradition of the daily newspaper is fading, replaced by instant digital updates. Now it's time to discuss the last and most interesting thing on our list, unique fashion.
Cast a spell with products by Lava Simplex. We've got emotion for every emotion.
Lava lamp. Home decor was another major aspect of the 1970s that filled the home with the most breathtaking of elements, and one such decorative vessel was the lava lamp. This ornamental lamp was invented in the 60s, but got its popularity in the 70s for its beauty, luminescence, and blending of colors. It consisted of globules of colored wax inside of an aesthetic glass which was full of translucent liquid and a bulb at the base. As the liquid got warmer, the buoyancy of the wax increased, causing it to float, but as the light goes off and the liquid cools, the wax then drops back to the bottom of the container. This enthralling halogen lamp was quite popular with hippies and those who were associated with the cannabis culture of the time, though they generally improved home and office aesthetics as well. It was certainly the sort of decorative lamp that you would find in the homes of famous people or clubs in classy locations.
Buildings in a single bound. Superman!
The rise of the graphic novel. The 1980s marked a transformative era for comics with the rise of the graphic novel. Spearheaded by groundbreaking works like Watchmen, released in 1986, these novels reshaped the landscape of comic books by introducing complex storytelling and deeper character development, appealing to a more mature audience while gaining literary credibility. Initially priced similarly to traditional comic books, these graphic novels are now esteemed as collector's items and cultural icons, readily available in bookstores and online, often in deluxe editions that reflect their esteemed status in the literary and entertainment worlds. The lasting popularity of graphic novels like Watchmen underscore their significant impact on both comics and broader pop culture.
Star Wars. You and your children loved it.
Star Wars memorabilia. With the release of Star Wars in 1977, an entire new realm of collectibles would emerge. Fans became captivated by the epic space saga and eagerly sought out anything that was related to the movie. Action figures of characters like Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Darth Vader quickly became must-have items. Posters featuring scenes from the film adorned the walls of many bedrooms, and trading cards allowed fans to collect and trade their favorite moments from the film. The excitement didn't stop at action figures and posters, though. Fans also collected lunchboxes, comic books, and even bed sheets that featured their favorite Star Wars characters. The success of Star Wars merchandise was unprecedented, making it one of the most significant cultural phenomena of the decade. Collectors took pride in finding rare items, like limited edition figures or original movie props, and some even kept their collectibles in mint condition, preserving them as valuable treasures. The impact of Star Wars memorabilia continues to be felt today, with vintage items still highly sought after by fans and collectors. The joy of owning a piece of the galaxy far, far away remains a cherished memory for those who grew up during the 1970s. Your backyard was one of the most interesting places to have an adventure. Aside from building a tree house or organizing games like lawn darts, another thing people loved to do was camping in the backyard. There were too many reasons why this was a good idea. Firstly, it was close to the house, so you could have the outdoors and nature and the experience with the option of quitting and going back indoors when things got out of hand. Secondly, it was familiar territory. Free space to do whatever you wanted, and legal property. Parents didn't need to worry about packing because you could easily get everything you needed inside. The bonding experience was exceptional, roasting marshmallows over a campfire, singing songs and telling stories, and feasting on crackers and s'mores. Learning to make a tent, it was a night of fun for the entire family. By the end, everyone was snuggled up in a sleeping bag and watching the stars while enjoying the air. Backyard camping was both safe and memorable.
Sir, care to comment on these wacky packages?
I'm outraged! Kids making fun of my products?
Wacky Packages. It was a humorous trading card that copied consumer products. These strange collectibles became a hit in the 1970s, capturing the imaginations of children everywhere. Each card featured a satirical take on a familiar brand, turning everyday items into hilarious and often gross versions of themselves. For example, instead of Coca-Cola, you may find Cracked Cola, with a cartoonish illustration to match. Children love the clever wordplay and the detail, often with outrageous artwork, and collecting these cards was all about finding the funniest and most creative parodies. Wacky Packages are not only entertaining but also affordable, making them accessible to many. Packs were sold for just a few cents, which included a stick of gum and added to the fun. Trading Wacky Packages with friends became a popular pastime, with children eager to complete their collections or find the most rare cards. The humor and creativity of them made them more than just a fad. They became a part of 70s pop culture, remembered fondly by those who had grown up during that era. Even today, collectors still seek out these vintage cards, cherishing the laughter and nostalgia they bring. Stick around to see the last few nostalgic treasures that we collected in the 1970s.
Monsters do have their place. In the zoo, in your nightmares, in the deep.
There was a time when drive-in theaters were the go-to spot for a night out. Families and couples would drive to these outdoor cinemas, park their cars, and enjoy movies under the stars. The large screens and the novelty of watching from the comfort of your vehicle made drive-ins incredibly popular. Snacks from the concession stand and the social atmosphere added to the experience. However, the rise of modern indoor cinema, with their advanced sound systems and comfortable seating, led to a decline in drive-ins. Additionally, the convenience of home streaming services has made it easier to watch movies without leaving the house. And today, drive-in theaters are a rare sight, often cherished for their nostalgic value rather than as a primary entertainment venue. The shift from drive-ins to indoor cinemas and streaming highlights the changes in technology and lifestyle, reflecting how our ways of enjoying movies have evolved over the decades. Kids loved to do all types of wacky things for fun in the 80s, and some of them were quite dangerous, but at that time they were entertaining. Mimicking pro wrestling was one activity that riled the kids up and got them excited. Imitating their favorite wrestler when hitting another person with a decapitating clothesline or dropping a suplex didn't seem like it had long-term effects, that is, until an accident happened. Parents were often spectators and even cheered their kids on, deeming it a sign of strength and manliness. Many times it would lead to a sprain, a bloody elbow, or a missing tooth, and sometimes it was worse. While these imitations seem harmless in those days, allowing young boys to express their passion for pro wrestling, it wasn't safe, and numerous adverts on television warned children of the dangers of mimicking the superstars, using the catchphrase, "Don't try this at home." Today, these attempts are frowned upon and usually reported to authorities. Remember the giggling and screaming of kids sliding down hills on cardboard in the 1970s? The low grass hill was often as long as 50 meters in length with a steep angle. Way down at the bottom, you could find dense bushes, poison ivy, and scrub brush, but it didn't matter to nature lovers. Kids would slide their way down the unpredictable and treacherous path of a grassy hill, where one single bump could sabotage the mobile craft and send them toppling down. Factors like hunger, thirst, and even bleeding elbows were not enough to deter the adventurous spirit. The cardboard sled may hold either one or two passengers as it rocks its way down the grassy hill. It wasn't the safest game to play, but maybe that was also what made it such a rush. These wild activities are now a thing of the past, but for the 70s kids, they'll always evoke nostalgia and memories of a more simple time.
Calls it the idea book. Wait till you see what I'm getting Jack. You mean I can get all these things with SNH Green Stamps?
Collecting SNH Green Stamps was a popular trend that began in the late 1800s and was at its peak in the 1970s. The stamps were offered in the United States to retailers in supermarkets, stores, gas stations, and other establishments as a reward based on the amount of money a customer paid in the purchase of goods. The stamps came in denominations of 1, 10, and 50, and as customers accumulated the stamps, they would moisten the back and mount them on the collector's books, which were also given to the customer for free. When customers filled the books with green stamps, which usually added up to 1,200 points, they could then exchange the filled books with items from the store of similar value. The SNH Green Stamps were a form of loyalty card, and adults and children participated alike. It was fun to fuss over the number of stamps collected and aspire towards getting more from merchants.
It's hard to describe the flavor of Welch's white grape juice, so I just follow my taste.
Next is the purple sparkling beverage popularly known as Welch's Grape Soda. It was first introduced in 1974, and because of how popular the brand already was, the new drink quickly gained a loyal following. People loved the zesty, tangy grape taste, and the conspicuously purple packaging made it stand out on any shelf. You just couldn't miss it. However, as a new tide of healthy drinks began to sweep through the beverage industry, many beverages in the soda category began to lose market share, and grape soda was caught in the web. Distributions were discontinued in 2011, but loyal fans would take to social media to launch a Bring Back Welch's Grape Soda campaign, petitioning for the drink's return. One of the fans even referred to it as the greatest grape soda ever made. In 2015, Welch's soda made a triumphant return with national distribution. However, the beverage still struggled for growth, as shoppers have been primed to go for healthier alternatives to a sugary soda. As the drink continues to evolve, the switch from processed sugar to natural plant-based sweeteners would likely boost the beverage's needs.
There's never been a puzzle quite like Rubik's Cube, and America may never be.
The Rubik's Cube. Crafted by Erno Rubik in 1974, this puzzle challenged minds with its complex yet captivating simplicity. Initially designed as a teaching tool for explaining three-dimensional geometry, its potential for entertainment quickly became evident. With each turn, the Rubik's Cube presents an array of color configurations demanding strategic thinking for alignment. Upon its global release, the cube transcended borders, captivating individuals of all ages. It wasn't only a toy, but a symbol of intellectual challenge and creativity. Competitions soon emerged, where enthusiasts would showcase their speed and technique, further solidifying its place in popular culture. Today, the Rubik's Cube remains a beloved puzzle, with its appeal undiminished by time. Its enduring popularity is evident in the community of cubers worldwide, who continue to share strategies, compete in events, and celebrate the joy of solving. The cube has evolved with variations and new challenges, but its core, the thrill of the solve, remains unchanged, bridging generations in a shared quest for pattern and order.
The BBC Micro computer system is a world leader, and it's still growing.
BBC Micro. This computer, launched in 1981, was more than just a machine. It was a pivotal educational tool all across the UK, designed to make learning about computing accessible to everyone. With a price tag that started around £235, it was a staple in schools and homes, fostering a generation of programmers. Its popularity stemmed from its role in the BBC's Computer Literacy Project, aiming to educate the public in the burgeoning field of home computing. Today, BBC Micro holds a place of honor in tech history. While no longer in commercial use, it lives on in museums and through the collections of enthusiasts. Online communities and retro computing forums also keep the spirit of the Micro alive, sharing software and experiences that celebrate its legacy.
Nothing says 70s fashion quite like the bell-bottom. The flared trousers dominated the decade.
Bell-bottom jeans. When watching the shows from the 1970s, you could easily spot the trends in their attire, and one major outfit that was rocked by both men and women were bell-bottom jeans. This apparel was quite famously worn in the 60s, however, it returned in the 70s, and they even have a song about it called Bell Bottom Blues by Derek and the Dominoes. These denim-made jeans were usually bright satin polyester and bright cotton, flared from the knee to the ankle, with the bottom openings as wide as 20 inches. It can be said that the 70s came with stellar fashion trends that had ushered in rock music, and it wasn't only worn by hippies and bohemians. Bell-bottom jeans were a huge fashion trend that were worn across the entire entertainment industry by the likes of David Bowie, Elvis Presley, Johnny Carson, and of course, John Travolta.
Here's a kid, right here. Cactus Cooler. It's the best stuff around. I drink it every day. Oh, that's good stuff.
The Cactus Cooler, distinguishable by its orange, yellow, and green logo, is part of Keurig Dr. Pepper's products, distributed under the Canada Dry brand. It captured a unique blending of pineapple and orange flavors to achieve a widely desirable taste. The name Cactus Cooler was inspired by a popular cartoon, The Flintstones, which aired in the 1960s. It was introduced in the late 1960s, gaining popularity into the 70s, and the carbonated orange pineapple flavored soft drink used corn syrup as a sweetener. But the real magic was its flavor combination, which filled the taste buds with that tangy, fruity goodness. The Cactus Cooler remained a national brand and didn't become as popular as expected. No one really knows why production was discontinued, but it remains a nostalgic favorite and could still be found in the Southwest. Playing stickball in the street was an old pastime activity that was played during the warm days of summer. A game born out of creativity and simplicity, parents and children would transform the street into a makeshift game park for the sake of space, and the equipment included a bat, which was often a broom or a piece of wood, and a rubber ball. The minimalist sport didn't require any fancy tools or expensive gear. The rules of the game weren't significantly different from baseball, except for a few quirks. Stickball wasn't necessarily about the skill, it was mostly about the fun and community, as rules were pretty loose. Players had to watch out for cars, avoid breaking glass, and every once in a while a player would catch a ball to the back or another odd place. Teams could argue over fouls and rules, but that made the game all the more interesting. Earlier than the advent of photocopy machines and digital copies, carbon paper was the go-to method for creating duplicates. Placed between two sheets of paper, carbon paper transferred the imprint from the top sheet to the one below as you wrote on it or typed. This simple yet effective method was widely used in offices, schools, and for personal documents, and with the introduction of photocopiers in the 1970s, making copies became much easier and more efficient. Photocopiers could produce multiple copies quickly, without the mess and limitations of carbon paper. Digital technology further revolutionized document duplication, allowing instant copying and sharing with only a few clicks. Today, carbon paper is mostly obsolete, replaced by more advanced and convenient methods, and the transition from carbon paper to modern copying technologies highlights the incredible advancements in office tools and the continuous drive for efficiency in everyday tasks. Only a few more to go until we reveal the last nostalgic gem, so keep watching because it's worth it.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Transformers. Would you choose a life where you could shapeshift into a robot, a car, a dinosaur, or even a gun? That was the concept of Transformers toys sold to us. There were probably no toys that anyone could remember that left children back then as spellbound and in awe as the Transformers did. It's fair to say they shaped an entire generation. Transformers were robots in disguise, and their backstory was that they were more than meets the eye. There were two different types of Transformers. Autobots were the heroes, and Decepticons were the villains. Both sides were from a race called Transformers. Basically, they were robots that could change into vehicles, mechanical devices, and even animal forms. They made children back then believe that they could make themselves into anything they wanted to be to achieve whatever they wanted to do.
The Milky Bars are on me.
Milk bars. In the 1960s, milk bars were the go-to spots for teenagers looking for a treat. These establishments specialized in milkshakes, ice cream sundaes, and other dairy delights. They were popular hangout spots where friends gathered to enjoy a sweet treat and to socialize. Milk bars had a charming, nostalgic vibe, with jukeboxes playing the latest hits and friendly servers behind the counter. It was a more simple time when a milkshake shared with friends could make for the perfect afternoon. Today's dessert shops offer a wide variety of treats, from frozen yogurt to gourmet cupcakes. And while modern shops may be trendy and diverse, they lack the nostalgic charm of the classic milk bar.
Fantastic!
Presenting the revolutionary Vectrex arcade system.
Vectrex Arcade System. Released in 1982, the Vectrex arcade system was unique for its built-in vector display, offering crisp and precise graphics unlike the raster displays that were common at the time. This made it highly appealing to gaming fans who had craved that arcade-style gameplay at home. Priced at around $200, it didn't only play games, it brought a brand new visual technology to the living room, setting it apart from its competitors. Although its high cost and the video game crash of 1983 limited its commercial success, Vectrex has since become a cult favorite amongst collectors. Today, Vectrex units and games are prized items in old-fashioned gaming circles, often showcased in gaming conventions and online collector forums, celebrated for their pioneering approach to home gaming technology. After exploring the unique display of the Vectrex, how did Max Headroom redefine digital personalities?
I believe in crystal light, 'cause I believe in sugar-free.
From the 70s to the early 80s, Crystal Light's artificially sweetened beverage mixes thrilled customers with a powdery mix that dissolved into refreshing, tasty drinks. It came in flavors like sweet tea, lemonade, and fruit punch. Produced by Kraft Heinz in the early 80s, its early advert featuring American actress Linda Evans doing aerobics in the gym spurred traffic to the product. The product first hit the shelves with a multi-serve canister and then later went solo with a single-serve packaging. This invigorating beverage, as great as it was in taste, had a whole lot of competition, and though production may still be ongoing under Kraft Foods, it can also be hard to find. So if you've seen it on your store shelves, let everyone know in the comments below. Arts and crafts was another activity that allowed children to express themselves using colors and artistic elements. With this in mind, kids developed a keen interest in making colorful quality bracelets. They often called them friendship bracelets, symbolizing their love and dedication to anyone they cared about. Making a friendship bracelet was a special activity and a time to be creative. No two bracelets were ever the same, as it would defeat the entire idea of creating something unique and special that only one person could have. After creating these special bracelets, kids would give them to friends with whom they had a connection or would like to build a different level of friendship. Maybe you remember getting a friendship bracelet in the past.
Oh, Storm's got a new card.
Collecting trading cards was another cherished hobby for children in the 1970s. Whether it was movie cards, TV shows, sports, or other themes, kids took pride in the number and variety of collectible cards owned. Children were mostly thrilled by baseball cards, featuring players from major leagues, football, basketball, and hockey cards as well. Those who were not as keen on sports cards collected them from popular shows like Star Trek, Batman, Planet of the Apes, and other humorous cards. The really cool part about collecting them was the satisfaction of owning a complete set of specific genre and eliminating the duplicates. Children would trade cards to acquire complete sets of them in a particular sport or show, and some would even save up money to buy these cards from local shops, while others negotiated tough trades, making sacrifices to acquire the cards they valued the most. This card trading hobby was fun and fulfilling, especially when showing off complete sets to friends.
Who can stop Psycho? Max Steel. Infused with Intech super strength, he's the world's strongest, coolest secret agent.
Max Steel. Children who love secret agent stories and James Bond vibes love this toy series. Inspired from a secret agent who had superhuman strength and agility, Max Steel could use advanced technology. The toys typically featured him in a variety of action-packed scenarios, with a range of high-tech gadgets and vehicles that most children at the time could only dream of using. The Max Steel toy package came with various accessories like weapons, gadgets, and armor, designed in a way that made them compatible with the characters, making it easy for children to put them inside the vehicles when coming up with their own stories. Some of the characters even had special features like electronic sounds or body parts that could transform.
This is the XL Foof by Big Joe. Big, cozy, and adorable.
The Beanbag Chair. The beanbag chair was a trendy and comfortable seating option in the 1970s. Made from soft fabric full of small polystyrene beads, the chairs would mold into any shape, offering a unique and cozy seating experience. Children loved the beanbag chair for its casual and fun design. It was perfect for lounging, reading, or watching television, and the chairs came in various vibrant colors and patterns, adding a playful touch into any room. The popularity of the beanbag chair in the 1970s was due to its versatility and comfort. It fit perfectly into the laid-back vibe of the era, becoming a staple in many homes. Whether for relaxing or hanging out with friends,
Erector Set, and go! You can build a shiny fire truck that you can really drive because our power...
Playing with Erector Sets offered a blending of activities for kids in the 70s and also provided hands-on construction skills and problem solving, which was always a fun time. The Erector Set was originally invented in 1913 and remained popular through the 70s, especially amongst children who were fascinated by building and engineering. The Erector Set was composed of a metal construction kit including girders, beams, gears, nuts, wheels, screws, and more, which were all assembled to create complex machines or even simple buildings. Some of the sets even came with small electric motors, allowing for the creation of moving parts like vehicles, working cranes, or elevators. The Erector Set was a special part of growing up in that era, and children were only limited by their own imagination.
TurboGrafx 16 is about to knock video games back.
The Adventure Game. Interactive fiction games like Mystery House, released in 1980, captivated players with their unique blend of storytelling and gameplay. The games were the precursors to modern adventure and role-playing games, offering players a novel way to engage with narratives where their choices could steer the story. Priced at around $24.95, they were accessible to many, fostering a strong following amongst those who loved puzzles and storytelling. Mystery House and similar games became popular due to their ability to immerse players in a narrative-driven adventure, a stark contrast to the arcade shooters of the time. Today, these games are valued antiques in gaming, with originals being prized by their collectors and enthusiasts alike. They can also be played through emulators and on websites that are dedicated to retro gaming, preserving their legacy in the digital era.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
Teddy Ruxpin. Kids today listen to interactive stories on their iPads, but 80s kids listen to Teddy Ruxpin. Released at a time in history when toys and technology had no business being mixed, Teddy Ruxpin broke that jinx with his ability to blend tech with a storytelling in a way that hadn't been seen before. A plush toy in the form of a bear, and all you needed to do was pop in a cassette tape to his back and he would come to life. His mouth and eyes would come alive as he narrated stories, and they were either fantasy, friendship, and adventure. The full packaging came with books so that children could read along as they listened. Eventually, Teddy Ruxpin lost his popularity, and with the cost of production and competition, it was then stopped.
It's Kenner's Betty Crocker Easy Bake Oven. Light bulbs not included.
The Easy Bake Oven. The Easy Bake Oven was a miniature oven that allowed kids to bake real treats using a simple light bulb as a heat source. It was designed with safety in mind, making it accessible for children to use under minimal supervision. Kids could bake a variety of goodies, from tiny cakes and cookies to brownies and other sweets, and the oven came with pre-packaged mixes, making the process both easy and fun. Watching the treats rise and then enjoying their homemade creations was a delightful experience. The Easy Bake Oven's appeal lies in its combination of play and real-life baking. It gave children a sense of independence and accomplishment. The joy of baking like their parents, but in a kid-friendly way, had made the Easy Bake Oven a beloved item. Sit back and relax with this next favorite.
Stretch Monster, new from Kenner. Stretch Armstrong, sold separately.
Stretch Armstrong. It was a popular action figure in the 1970s known for its unique ability to stretch and contort. Made from a special rubbery material filled with gel, Stretch Armstrong could be pulled, twisted, and stretched to several times his original size without the fear of breaking. Kids were fascinated by his flexibility. They would stretch his arms and legs, tie him in knots, and then watch as he slowly returned to his original shape. This durability and the tactile fun of stretching and shaping him made Stretch Armstrong a beloved toy. He was loved because he offered a different kind of play experience. The combination of strength and stretchability made him a unique and memorable toy that was perfect for imaginative adventures and endless fun. There was nothing as refreshing, fun, and daunting in the 1970s as riding your bike outdoors with friends or racing each other with a cool breeze on your face. Whether you were stunting or exploring the off-roads, it was always a great time. The only problem was, children in the 70s were riding bikes without helmets. Besides the fact that bike helmets were not so popular and had only become commercial in the late 70s, kids loved the feeling of riding their bikes without any form of obstruction on their noggin. You absolutely could not convince a child of the advantages, and if by chance a child was found wearing a helmet while the rest rode without theirs, that rider became the butt of everyone's joke for the day. Parents soon began to enforce the use of helmets to protect their children from injuries, as bicycle accidents were often quite brutal. With so many protective gears used by children today, like helmets, pads, and forms of body armor, 70s kids will always be remembered as the daredevils that conquered the roads, throwing caution to the wind and sometimes paying the price.
Who cares what the picture looks like? Then Pioneer gives me their Laserdisc player.
Laserdisc. This technology debuted in the late 1970s, introducing consumers to a brand new era of home cinema with its superior video quality compared to VHS and Betamax. As the first commercially available optical disc storage medium, Laserdisc offered a significantly sharper image and clearer sound, capturing the attention of movie enthusiasts who valued high fidelity in their home viewing experiences. Despite their advantages, Laserdiscs were initially expensive, often costing hundreds of dollars for the players and about $30 for each disc, which limited their widespread adoption. Today, while Laserdiscs have been largely replaced by more compact and efficient digital formats like DVD and Blu-ray, they hold a nostalgic charm for collectors and cinema purists. You can still find Laserdisc players and discs through online marketplaces, appealing to those who appreciate the vintage quality and uniqueness of the format.
Okay, will I sell this new home loan today? But
Magic 8 Ball. The Magic 8 Ball was a popular toy in the 1970s, adding a touch of mystery to everyday life. It worked by shaking the black ball and then flipping it over to reveal an answer through a clear window. Inside, a 20-sided die floated in blue liquid, offering responses like yes, no, or ask again later. Children were fascinated by the 8 Ball because it made simple yes or no questions feel like a game of chance. Whether asking about school, friendships, or even future dreams, the Magic 8 Ball provided an element of fun and suspense. Its popularity soared as it became a staple at sleepovers, parties, and casual hangouts, and the Magic 8 Ball's ability to create excitement and intrigue made it beloved amongst children, always ready to offer a playful prediction. Building tree houses was a childhood activity that many were particularly fond of, giving children the freedom to create a private play space using their imagination. They were not only structures, they were symbols of independence, a hideaway spot, and a place of adventure. Kids could scavenge for supplies with their friends, and parents would spend a significant amount of time putting the structures together, making sure they were sturdy and safe. Most were made from wood and often came with windows, a door, a ladder, or steps, and sometimes even a pulley system for hoisting up supplies. Tree houses were safe spaces for kids, serving many purposes such as a clubhouse and more. The skateboard. It became incredibly popular in the 1970s. These boards, made of wood with 4 wheels attached, allowed kids to ride and perform tricks on sidewalks and streets. Bright and funky designs made each and every skateboard unique and appealing. Skateboarding offered a sense of freedom and adventure. Kids loved the thrill of gliding down streets and attempting new tricks, but it wasn't only a mode of transportation, it was a way to express creativity and individuality. The influence of skateboarding on youth culture was immense, spawning a subculture that emphasized style, skill, and camaraderie. Skate parks began to pop up, and skateboarding competitions became events to watch and participate in. The sport's impact continued to grow, making skateboards a must-have for any cool kid of the 1970s.
Batman and Robin, the dynamic duo. Superman.
Migo superheroes. These were action figures that brought popular comic book characters to life. The figures were highly detailed with cloth costumes and multiple points of articulation, making them perfect for imaginative play and display. Popular superheroes included characters like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Kids could reenact their favorite comic book scenes or create a brand new adventure with these beloved heroes. The attention to detail in the costumes and accessories made these figures stand out. The collectability of Migo superheroes added to their appeal. Many children aimed to complete their collections, trading with friends in order to get the figures they wanted. The joy of owning these iconic characters made the superheroes a cherished toy for any cool kid of the 1970s.
Sony introduces the only cassette player as small as a cassette case.
Playing music on Walkmans. In the 1980s, the Sony Walkman revolutionized how we listened to music. It offered freedom and portability that was unprecedented for the time, and you could take your favorite tunes everywhere, whether it be a jog in the park or a ride on the bus. Creating mixtapes became a beloved activity. You'd spend hours picking out the perfect songs, recording them onto a cassette, and then swapping the tapes with friends. Each mixtape was a personalized journey, a way to share your musical tastes with others, and putting on the lightweight headphones and pressing play would transport you to a different world. It became an escape, a personal concert right there in your ears, making long commutes and everyday activities that much more enjoyable. While listening to music has evolved, what about our in-flight habits?
Renting video shouldn't be a game of skill or luck, and it's not at Home Video Express.
Renting VHS tapes at video stores. Remember the excitement of going to the local video store? It was a weekend ritual for many families. You'd walk in greeted by rows of VHS tapes, each with colorful covers that promised a great movie night. The joy of browsing the aisles, picking up potential choices, and finally settling for the perfect film was unmatched. The anticipation built as you rushed home, popped the tape into the VCR, and settled in for a cozy evening. This experience was more than just renting a movie. It was all about the thrill of the hunt and shared moments with family and friends. The video store was a community hub, a place where you may bump into neighbors and discuss the latest releases. And those simple trips to rent a VHS tape created long-lasting memories. Speaking of storage, remember how we used to save our files?
Way back when, the pages, big and bulky, yellow and white.
Using phone books. In the 1980s, phone books were essential tools for finding contact information. These hefty volumes contained extensive listings of individuals and businesses, making them invaluable for anyone needing a phone number. Flipping through the pages of a phone book was a routine task. Whether you were looking for a friend's number or trying to contact a local business, a phone book had it all. The white pages listed residential numbers, while the yellow pages were dedicated to businesses and services. And despite their weight and bulk, phone books were household staples. They sat by the phone, ready for whenever you needed to make a call. They were an indispensable part of daily life, long before the internet and smartphones had made such searches instantaneous.
Exercise and weight control. For your free copy, write Consumer Catalog, Pueblo.
Shopping from catalogs. In the 1980s, printed catalogs from companies like Sears were a popular way to shop from home. The thick and colorful catalogs were packed full of everything from clothing to appliances, and flipping through the pages, circling desired items, and making a wish list was a common pastime. The excitement of browsing these catalogs would be unmatched. Each turn of the page would reveal new products and possibilities. And once you decided your selections, you could then place an order by mail or by phone, patiently waiting for the purchases to arrive. Shopping from catalogs was a convenient and enjoyable experience, especially before the internet made online shopping possible. And these catalogs brought the store to your doorstep, offering a wide range of products in one place.
And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along.
Participating in aerobics classes. In the 1980s, aerobics classes became a fitness craze. Colorful spandex outfits, leg warmers, and energetic instructors were the hallmark of these classes. People flocked to gymnasiums and community centers to join aerobic sessions, inspired by the upbeat music and lively routines. Fitness videos gained popularity, with instructors such as Jane Fonda leading the way. These videos allowed people to work out from home, making fitness accessible to everyone. And the fun and vibrant atmosphere of aerobics made exercising both enjoyable and social. Over time, fitness trends have evolved, but the impact of aerobics on fitness culture remains significant, and it introduced the concept of group exercise and made working out a mainstream activity. Aerobics laid the foundation for many modern fitness trends, promoting health and well-being in a fun and engaging way. Fondue became popular in the US in the 60s and 70s, and with time it was incorporated into dishes to a point where people began to have fondue parties. Fondue itself was simply Swiss melted cheese with wine and a seasoning in a pot served to a group of people in a communal pot, which of course was always a fun time. The fondue stood over a portable stove and was heated while people used forks to dip their edibles into the cheese before eating them. The recipe has continued to evolve with the invention of the chocolate fondue fountain and others, and the heat of the fondue was kept at a temperature where it stayed warm and smooth, but not overly hot. The parties were fun and allowed friends and family to bond over a pot of cheese with lots of other edibles to dip in. Today, there are many variants of fondue, and the tradition lives on. Which of these great memories remind you of your childhood? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.